Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, Sierra Leoneans, non-Sierra Leoneans around the world. Today, the 9th of May 2021, I am Ajibu Tijan Jallo, the former government spokesman of the Republic of Sierra Leone, bringing to you yet another program via Sierra Cast TV. Today's program has to do with post independence evaluation, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It is my hope that at the end of our discussion here today, we will have very little to talk about in terms of ugliness
Mhm.
and very much to talk about in terms of good for our country. So, mi fambule, unakabo kushe. We don't count to una today again for can talk to una and hold a discussion. This is a conversation about our country. The hope is that we'll bring awareness. The hope is that we'll bring some amount of fortitude and hope that every one of us, in we own rights, in we own capacity, will actually take steps for improve Mama Salon, be it politically, socially, economically, or otherwise. Um, when we talk about independence, we talk about birthday. Birthday normally na a term for make you evaluate your life over a period of time. And of course, essentially all over the world, birthday now once every year. It give an opportunity for take a look back as to which you don't do in life, what has been your achievements, what have been your accomplishments, what have been the plans and objectives that you've set for yourself, and how you've achieved those plans and objectives. At your birthday, you tell God thank you that you're alive. You tell God thank you that you're aware of where you're at, but you also measure the optimality with which you've achieved such successes. So, therefore, anytime when you talk about independence, a birthday of a country, you talk about sovereignty, you being able to fend for yourself, you being free to make decisions for yourself. You think about patriotism, nationalism, you think about your culture, you think about your heritage, you think about you. Who am I? I'm not looking to imitate or mimic anybody else. I have a space of my own. I'm I'm there. I occupy my own space. I have my own style. I have my own dealings. Others can be compared to me, but I cannot be substituted. You think about legacies. You think about patrimony. You think about endowment. Endowment in the sense the initial provision where you get with which you build on. We can say growing up, we dey expect that we parents them will make it possible for make we get the marketable for develop the marketable skills which society require and desire, such that we'll be able to make formidable contribution to the world in general. That is also akin to a country. A country gain independence from a colonial master, and of course, given your initial endowments, be it natural resources, be it human resource capacity, you're expected to build upon that, okay, and provide for your people in terms of being civilized, in terms of societal needs, in terms of healthcare, in terms of education, in terms of infrastructure. in terms of alliances, in terms of access to things that you don't quite produce, and leveraging the opportunity for trade with other countries. Certainly, we will not be able to explain and talk about all the things that we involve in our country's progress since independence. But I think by way of an opening statement, this could give a snippet of what we hope for discuss, what we hope for look for, and what we hope for evaluate in this program. I'm not there by myself today. I'm not by myself, certainly. I have a very prolific gentleman, fine gentleman, who is with me and will help me in this discussion. That individual is Mr. Professor Pavi Jallo. And I think one will want to know who Professor Pavi Jallo is in terms of his authority to speak to issues bordering on post independence evaluation of Sierra Leone, his capacity, his consciousness, and his ability to do so. So I will therefore now um, ask, welcome, first of all, welcome Mr. Pavi Jallo to the program. Professor Pavi, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you. It's
And
a pleasure to be here.
wonderful. I'd like to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself to our viewers. Keep in mind that we have viewers that will be viewing us right now. There are those who will view this program afterwards, and certainly we'll expect viewers to bring in comments and ask questions as we go along. But over to you, Professor Patti. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Jallo. I also want to take an opportunity to thank Sierra Cast TV for bringing this program to the world, I should say. Also want to congratulate the Republic of Sierra Leone on 60 years of independence. There's always an opportunity to look back and see where we may have faltered along the way, and also where we have built some successes over the last 6 decades, and certainly where we should be headed. Again, my name is Pavi Jallo, proud citizen of the Republic of Sierra Leone, as well as the United States. I had the privilege of attending primary as well as secondary school in Sierra Leone in the provinces. Gained experiences there that helped me move on to the United States. So I attended college here in Northern Oklahoma College, earned a degree there in business administration, then moved on to Oklahoma State University, earned a Bachelor of Science there in economics before transitioning to New Jersey for graduate school. Gained exposure to ways to think about development. What does development truly mean? What does independence mean? You've narrated a really good story of the things that we expected to gain as a sovereign nation. My experiences have moved from earning a master's degree here at Rutgers University in New Brunswick, New Jersey, working with youth, young people, developing secondary school or high school seniors, as we refer to them here, and college students, partnering them with corporate America, Fortune 500 companies, developing internship programs that train and develop the skill sets that young people need to become successful in society. Had that position for about 8 years as a business development manager for that organization, a nonprofit organization. I then transitioned directly into academia. So I've had the opportunity to serve as a dean of an international university located here in New Jersey. In that position, I had the opportunity to manage resources, looking at not just those students that we worked with, but also working with faculty, seeing the processes that must be followed, that must be developed and followed, so that we can build the right type of skill sets that labor forces need, that businesses need in order to be successful. Great opportunity there. Worked in that role for just a little bit over 5 years and then transitioned into the classroom. So currently, a faculty member of two institutions here in the great state of New Jersey. I teach at New Jersey University in Jersey City, New Jersey, as well as Essex County College. I teach both supply chain management and economics at both institutions. I've had the privilege also of teaching economics in China to Chinese students, and it's amazing to see the synergies that exist in terms of what the need is in China, or how China was 30 years ago, and the strides that they have made and the opportunities that we have to learn from those organizations and nations that have succeeded in the last 30 years. And some have again faltered, but they've been able to pick themselves up and move forward to develop their nations. And we have that opportunity. We have a resilient group of people, citizens in our nation, that can certainly transform this wonderful republic we call Sierra Leone. So, mi fambo lem, una kabo, una kusha, and I hope say una go participate in this wonderful discussion where they can get about we great nation. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Pavijalo, and I like that you end up with Creole because after then, big English way you talk, so one go member say you know you talk Creole at all. So when you come with Creole now, people I know for say yes. All we help for show you qualification. A, you are a Sierra Leonean. B, you speak Creole like we self. And C, you've done well for yourself. You're an educated individual. You've been able to compare and contrast, having attended school in Sierra Leone, having attended school in the United States. Certainly, that brings for quite a range of comparison in all aspects in your own personal life and the way you evaluate others with whom you have gone to school with, and evaluating how teachers teach and things of that nature. And one interesting thing you talked about is the fact that you have served as a dean. A dean meaning that you are the head of a department in a school system. It shows leadership, and I think I feel quite comfortable to sit here and speak with you with regards post independence evaluation. Well, Fambulem Asudoreri, listener Mr. Pavijallo, he don't give CV, and we will clearly indicate say this na man we don't see Sierra Leone the good, the bad, and the ugly. So we talk from a position of authority. Um, Unfortunately, we began some technical issues starting the program. The program will start 6 o'clock. We be intent for do an hour of discussion, conversation really, and maybe leave another half hour for questions. But time is fast spent. So we go delve right into a discussion. We only get about 45 minutes of this program. We'll make the best out of them. So, Bobby, talk to us. Tell me, um, how do you see Sierra Leone, post evaluation of Sierra Leone? Plenty Bango talk say there's nothing to write home about. Sierra Leone is doomed. We should not even be celebrating anything, not in order for celebrating. In fact, many they come on.
Yeah.
What is your position on all of that?
Good question. And people over there feel say not in order for Sierra Leone, then get every right to feel that way. Development is measured by the individual. Success is measured by the individual. But I like the theme of the program: the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I'll begin with the ugly, looking at the devastating war that destroyed our infrastructure, destroyed our agricultural system, the healthcare system, the educational system. Those individuals who would have earned degrees and skill sets that would be in a position to start contributing to society today. We lost that opportunity. And these are key ingredients for economic development. The minimal infrastructure that we had prior to the war was destroyed during the course of the war, set back our nation by some estimates for some 25 years. That's a reason to pause 60 years into independence and realize where we have failed as a society, where we have reversed gains that could have multiplied the development opportunities that we have as a nation. And then we'll look at the bad. So the war led to things like brain drain. Those that have the skill sets, who are willing to contribute to society, left the country or pulled away from any type of support systems that will help grow our infrastructure, that will help wipe away the tears that our people suffered, the blood that was spilled over the course of the war. So those are bad things that happen. Other bad things are the uncertainty that we still continue to create in our public domain. Uncertainty about how rules will be applied, how businesses will be taxed at any given time, what interest rates will be, how will we manage GDP growth, knowing fully well that gross domestic product and improvements in productivity is really what raises the standard of living of a people. So those are bad things that certainly we can improve on upon, and we will have the opportunity to discuss this this evening with our audience. But then there's a lot of good. It's a lot of good in the Sierra Leonean. We are a resilient people. We've have the opportunity in the last 60 years to showcase what we're capable of doing. We are members of the United Nations, members of international bodies, the African Union. We play a critical role over the last 10 years and moving forward into this new year, into the current administration, where we are participating in key decision making in terms of expanding the African role in the United Nations. So those are good things that we should celebrate. There's recognition that Sierra Leone is a nation that exists and is striving to do well. Our citizens have excelled in a number of areas. Some are leading major corporations around the world. Others have headed strong agencies within the United Nations. We have stars that have done very well. I think of Mohamed Kalon, internationally recognized star, Paul Packer, internationally recognized stars. Think of the art industry with people like Charlie Hafner. These are individuals that have excelled in their art. So there's a lot to gain. We've built institutions. We have a viable constitution that can move our nation forward. We have skilled individuals in how to formulate public policy. We need to leverage those skill sets and leverage the natural resources that we have at our disposal and find a way to move this wonderful nation forward. Find a way to increase the opportunities that our people have and move forward in terms of, again, looking at education, which I'm sure we will delve into shortly, move away from a donor-driven economy that only stifles our growth, move away from comparisons to nations around the world that have better standards of living, better educational systems, better nutrition programs. Let's look at those things in moving forward. Some may say that we should look at what will we do in the next 60 years. That's too long because we have the opportunity to make changes now, immediately, to impact the young generation. Over 60% of our population is made up of youth, very young and vibrant people who are looking at what their colleagues around the world are doing and are concerned that what will happen in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. we need to make improvements today in order to be able to impact growth levels, decrease poverty rates, improve on healthcare, build the infrastructure that will make us compete like anyone else around the world because our people are capable and a lot of good is in the Sierra Leonean. And we must take advantage of that today.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for all of that, Professor Vavi. Thank you. But in all of what you have said, my question to you is Sierra Leone moving in the right direction? Do we have anything to celebrate for?
We do. Well, so first part of the
No,
question, are
no,
we
no,
moving?
no. So you do. So you say we do.
Yes. Yes, we do.
So you go challenge the one the way they say nothing only for celebrate for.
Absolutely. We get plenty for celebrate. Definitely for they celebrate more. We don't get
Well, people that they
opportunities though.
say, people that they say we still not get water
Uh-huh.
for let all man drink. People they say we still get epileptic electricity in the country.
Mhm,
People that they say we still not able for feed we self, meaning that government get for spend over $200 million, okay, a year
mhm,
for import rest.
mhm.
What you go say, but I mean, not a sufficient justification now for say we not get. In fact, some man say them for sell the country, give the country back. Self. Let England can't take we back. Let we go about to business because we're not
Yeah.
really able to sustain ourselves.
Yeah.
In that circumstances, they how you justify your own position now?
Again, I understand the reasoning behind why make them feel say not in order for celebrate. I mean, if you walk on any village or street corner in Sierra Leone, you will see a lot of reasons and why make people and say not in order for celebrate. But we get for look at the issues them and the opportunities that were available in Sierra Leone over the last 60 years, right? Holistically, things then they for celebrate. Then small, that is true. Okay, then small, but we don't make some progress. And because we get the ability for learn from we mistakes them, that means we able for move forward. We will talk about leapfrogging those nations that appear to be doing better.
What's in
True
that
say,
improvement you will make?
for example, the institutions that we don't build. They need, yes, you need to put food on your table. I understand that. I understand the fact that building colleges and universities or building roads, but me, an economist, go tell you say that infrastructure development, building those roads, actually they help for elevate standard of living. Give you an
How?
example. Look at Peninsula Road. Okay, just as a
Mhm.
small example, just 10 years ago, Peninsula Road now be a dusty area, wilderness basically because of direct infrastructural development, just by simply building the road, that area don't become a vibrant economic zone. If you drive through Peninsula Road, you see businesses then they do better. Certainly, they can do better. Certainly, they can improve the economic well-being by 15, 20 percentage points. So the progress in Sierra Leone is slow. That's part of our issue. It's extremely slow, especially when we can take advantage of we so-called backwardness and try for improve living standards. But there's some things to celebrate. There has to be, okay, and we get
But one
for
will argue with you see, one will
yes.
argue with you see, then who then they way they talk so they were there just after the Whitman then left way. And
Mhm,
then who then they be even safer because then we get side them way fire force can go hook them machine and get water
mhm,
every 4 mile or so. Then who would then they get thing the way they can open them, then go under, they able for do things them underground pipe, then they undergo where they pass. Then say
mhm,
now all them one then they don't lost, all long clogged up. So in other
mhm,
words, we they retrogress as opposed to going forward.
mhm. So
So
in that regard, in that regards, absolutely we don't reverse some of these gains we may not make moving into independence. Some of those structures were there, um, but at the same time, uh, progress again is measured by the individual and by society as a whole. Waiting we need for focus on is how do we fix those issues. That's infrastructural development. Yes, the road being dated during colonial era, moving through Peninsula Road, but the changes that may happen over the last decade and a half, the small progress we don't make, it don't prove to we say if we come together as a nation, if we build the necessary infrastructure, if we create the environment for let businesses then thrive, we can do better. We can elevate with standard of living. We can compete with anyone. And
It's
that
not like
small
say,
example,
it's not like
yes.
say you promote the APC manifesto, then what the way they talk should come together, all linked in the way you talk. Now APC manifesto, that is that what you're saying? You say, in other words, what you say, if APC come back, things will get better.
Now, well, let me put it this way. If uh, coming together as a people, investing in infrastructure. If the current government do that, things will get better. If they create the enabling environment for let businesses then thrive, for improved GDP, if they manage the simple things such as taxation, we they in the upwards of 30% at this point. If you manage those things, if you decrease taxes and allow businesses then for thrive, decrease uncertainties in the marketplace, then certainly the current government go improve and move the needle. In this case, by leaps and bounds, hopefully. So it may sound like the APC manifesto, but it's a Sierra Leonean manifesto. Okay.
I like that. And Fambu, I told like it's not to say we want to talk party business. I want to talk party business, but I think to say that something way meaningful for again coming to
Mhm,
bear. And certainly we could delve more into economy. But I want to agree with you to a great extent for say yes, certainly we've we've moved from a state of inertia. Who's how we be day 1962, who's how we day now. It different. People kind of overzealous for see growth, for see we looking like United States and looking like advanced countries. But certainly we not get all the initial endowment that we didn't get. So we're not able to move with such alacrity. And also we get issues of corruption. But when you look at technology in itself, we don't benefit from technology to a great extent. Certainly it's not to be compared with advanced country. But now we'll discuss technology for a moment. Okay,
mhm,
technology wise, how we be there back in the 50s, or what we know, we're not go in the 50s, but we know we be dey take telephone, we dey dial am. Okay, we dey ready for calling a slot, we dey go call some side and pass them
yes.
through different. So talk to Fambulem, based on your studies and the research
Mhm,
we don't do, the improvement of technology that we country from then 10 and to now.
yeah. Um, again, growth. Okay? Things to celebrate. The environment where we people are not create as a nation, the involvement of creation of opportunities to, for let businesses then thrive. So today, for example, you can then nami own village and able for make call to someone in China, someone in the United States. We get things like orange money, right? You can actually provide resources to some to small scale farmer all the way in a small village where you have 5 houses. We have the ability to do that. We get the ability for manage some diseases that we've been get challenges with in the past, right? We've taken advantage of improvements like polio vaccinations. We don't manage for learn from the stranglehold of Ebola, and that experience they help in managing the current concerns with COVID. I know say yes, we need a tremendous amount of improvements in communication. Try for catch up with the rest of the world in terms of internet connectivity. That's an area we need for improve. Need for improve in the area of education. Today, the world depends on technology for educate their citizens. And that's an area where we get a chance for even leapfrog other nations that we would compare ourselves to today. Think of fossil fuel. We still they use generators then for GUI energy. Yes, we get Bumbuna Dam, but why we need to focus on cleaner technology, newer technology, cheaper technology for generate electricity in Sierra Leone? It attracts industries. Without electricity generation, extremely difficult for see any type of manufacturing. So we're still
You know,
dependent.
these
Yeah,
things you're talking about, you make it sound like it's easy. Just go into the United States or go wherever and bring these resources and bring it to Sierra Leone. How
right.
do we attract these things you're talking about
Yeah.
renewable resources? How do you do
Yes.
it?
So it's not easy. So it's not $100 million, and you have all of these things readily available. It's creating the environment first, focusing on infrastructure. You build, they come. So I gave you the example of Peninsula Road. We built the road, businesses came. People built homes. It attracts businesses. Same reason why the developed world creates these free trade zones. They build and the businesses follow. What we need to focus on is looking at these technologies. So I'll give you an example of solar energy. There's an organization here in Newark, New Jersey, one of the leading organizations in solar technology that I met with recently. And they shared with me that they have the capability of building solar panels using local resources in Sierra Leone, using local raw materials in our country and build solar panels and cut the price of a kilowatt hour by half based on what's currently there. That attracts investments. So it's not an easy transition. You work by attracting businesses to come to your nation. First, building the right type of infrastructure. Secondly, providing the skilled labor force. So, education, primary school level, all the way through tertiary education. Building that will attract industries, will attract this technology, this wonderful technology that we all want to benefit from. So there are opportunities there. I know it's a long road, but without creating the environment, without eliminating uncertainty, even diasporan community will be concerned about investing in our nation, helping to expand our GDP, for example. Okay. So
So
those are
certainly
some of the
there's
challenges.
so certainly there is potential there. There is room for growth. Okay, but that notwithstanding, Sierra Leone can still, and you will agree with me that Sierra Leone can still be proud of some very fine, educated individuals that have come into society and have made
Mhm.
mark in the world order. The likes of Kelfer Smart, the likes of Professor, what was the former Minister of Agriculture's name? Yeah,
Yes,
Monty Jones.
Monty Jones, correct.
Monty Jones. Remember, Monty Jones did the rice. He came with the Eureka rice, and he was named one of 100 men in the Forbes
Hmm.
magazine.
Absolutely.
Okay, and there are quite a number
Absolutely.
of historians. We also have Cecil McBailey File.
Hmm.
Okay, he's made his name in Sierra Leone and has also made his name internationally. And I'll give you a short story. We don't have a lot of time, but I would. When I went to the Ohio State University, I attended the Ohio State University. I'm a Buckeye. Um, I'm out of the College of Food, Agriculture, and Environmental Science. My background is agriculture economics. But from time to time, we'll have to go take classes up in the humanities department. And um, this gentleman was a professor. As a matter of fact, he was uh, assistant dean, if not, of humanities department. And he saw me in campus one day and said, "You look very familiar. Are you Jallo?" I was surprised, really. We're talking about a university that holds about 60,000 students, in a real large, it's the whole city. And for this gentleman to see me and identify me with Jalo, my father, with whom he attended Frabe
Mhm.
College, and also they were pioneering students at St. Edward's Sixth Form, I think it was fascinating, you
Has
know.
to be.
So I became very attracted to him and followed his work. And he was quite respected, very respected in the Ohio State University himself, and also Professor uh, Conte Morgan of blessed memories. Conte Morgan was a Sierra Leonean who taught French and Italian at the Ohio State University. These are all Sierra Leoneans.
Yes.
So in our own right, we have certain things that you will consider uh, paramount, or you will consider worth celebrating. But those are the things that I will celebrate to say Sierra Leone has arrived. When
Hmm.
you have Sierra Leoneans that are making mark over in the
Absolutely.
advanced world, not a whole lot of them, but a
Yeah.
few of them, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was great. I mean, even in Sierra Leone, we know of the historians. I don't quite remember the names in Friday College, but we have very good individuals. I mean, we can even come to as recent as uh, the former Vice President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Attorney General, and I was Minister of Foreign Affairs also, Abdoulaye Conte.
Absolutely.
Okay, Abdoulaye
Hmm.
Conte went to
Yeah.
Belize and he
Hmm.
became Chief Justice in Belize.
Yes.
And he's a Sierra Leonean. Added to the fact that quite a number of people around the world were trained and studied
Hmm.
in Sierra Leone at Frabe College when it was once named Athens of Africa. Today, we have a law school in Sierra Leone.
Hmm.
Today, we have a medical school in Sierra Leone. And these are practitioners that are practicing, that are saving lives.
Absolutely.
You understand?
So the
And so there's a lot to celebrate for in terms of, I agree with you, in terms of what has happened in our country over the years. Um, because we don't have a lot of time, I want us to move quickly to the economy, which is really your strength. The economy. Where have we been? Where are we now? And where are we going? Um, I could tell you as a government spokesman, that was when I got close to understanding the economy itself and how it measures as against other countries, where we will evaluate GDP, we will evaluate income per capita, we will evaluate the number of jobs that are coming in, and all of those macroeconomic indicators. Um, how what how hopeful are we? Where do you think we're going? Are we going from bad to worse? Have we enjoyed our best days? Are our best days yet to come? Lay some emphasis. Let's discuss. Let's hold a conversation around Sierra Leone's economy over the years,
yeah.
60 years.
And I like the fact that you ended up by saying, have we seen our best days? And the immediate response is no. We have yet to see our best days. There are tremendous opportunities for the Republic of Sierra Leone and for our 7 million inhabitants. It's a small economy, about $4 billion economy in comparison to our neighbors. Liberia is a $3 billion economy. The Republic of Guinea boasts of $12 billion economy. Okay. So we're a small economy, and I hear a lot about Sierra Leoneans comparing us to other nations. Very quick for Sierra Leoneans to do that. And it's understandable. That's what they would like to see happen to their nation. But just looking through the Mano River Union, Ivory Coast, $58 billion GDP, Senegal 24. People compare us to Ghana. Ghana has $67 billion GDP, and Rwanda just a little bit over $10 billion. There are opportunities
Just
for
for our
Sierra Leone.
listeners, we get with farm with them. They in a free tongue. We not go understand what you mean by 10 billion GDP. Yeah, explain
Yes.
small. What you
Yeah.
mean when you say 10 million GDP?
Yeah. Thank you for that. GDP now the gross domestic product of any country. So each year, countries then they measure the output level, so the amount of goods and services them where we produce within the country. Whether na rice we grow, na pepper we grow, we dey try for measure for see if we dey make progress. When GDP not grow, okay, especially when we only so small, just 4 billion United States dollars. When it not dey grow, it tell we a lot about the strength of the economy. So we'll begin with this a business person. Okay, business person they because you're not able for grow, that means that businessman they enable for hire people them. Yeah, now people and then they produce the goods that they try for measure. That means the local farmer na Rokupur, he only get two people who they work for him. So the neighbor for produce more. Now hoe and cutlass and then they use for work na them farm. So the neighbor for produce more. So GDP na they grow. So the standard of living of people them for let you able for get 500,000 leons where they sit on your bank accounts where you not need for the next 2 or 3 weeks because you get other sources of income there. Then you know available. And so measuring the GDP, they tell we whether the country they make progress or not. And because of certain things that we policies them we would implement within the country, it make it challenging for let we able for expand. So for example, we look at the current environment. If you're not a business person as alone, okay, and unfortunately this happens in other countries across the sub-region, but specifically Sierra Leone, the gains, the profits where a business person they make would expect say go pay upwards of 30%. So if you make 1 million leons today, about 300,000 leons of that day, if you pay in taxes. Okay. That need to create two problems then. One is what we call the incidence of the tax. The tax where the government impose, the businessman get for make sure say he take a portion of that 300,000 leons away for pay the government. He add upon the price of the goods away they sell. So you, the consumer, you get for pay a portion of that tax day. Okay? So the incidence of the tax, partly paid by the consumer, and then the other parts, the business person and they pay. Okay? Then they shrink the economy because the price don't increase. A first time they buy 4 cup for my family every day because the price don't go up. So now 3 cup are able for buy now because as the price they go up, my salary now they go up. So the output level now the country they become stifled. The businessman, instead they reduce how much rice able for produce, how much banana able for grow, how much sugar able for import kind of the country. Then they affect we ability for grow and increase we living standards within the country. So you see that the economy gets smaller and smaller each time that costs of operations increase within the framework of the business environment. Okay. So that's GDP. That's measuring the output level within the country in any given year. And in our case, it's small. We need to focus on how do we expand that? How do we attract businesses and help them thrive in the marketplace? And taxes
You
is
just,
one way to
you just,
leverage that.
thank you. You also just talked about the prices, the fact that your ability to earn reduces, or the amount of money you have does not grow, but yet the prices grow, and I think that speaks to inflation.
Mhm.
And just the other day, I was listening to a program where the current presidential spokesman talked about the fact that when they came into office, inflation was at double digit, but today inflation have been reduced to 8.95%. And I am a little confused because when I roam around Freetown and I look at prices, prices have continued to grow. Fuel have moved from whatever it was to 8,500. Cup of rice, okay, continues to increase. A bag of rice is now almost 400,000. Started off at
Mhm.
290, went to 300, then 370, and I have not heard about the cost of a bag of rice reducing. Cost of doing business at Wataki has also increased. I have not heard about a price that have reduced in the basic commodities that we use in Sierra Leone. So I know you did not make the statement. He made the statement, but since you are a professional here, what could be the indication? What could be the mechanics behind making a statement like that to say that the inflation rate has improved if it's
Okay.
not just outright being economical with the truth?
Um, Interpreting data, any type of data, depends on the individual who's going to interpret it and the audience that they're trying to meet. When you spoke of looking at prices of local goods that our people need on any given day, without focusing on the indices that the international community focuses on, because sometimes I think we tend to gear our attentions too much to the data that international community would like to hear. Okay. Clearly, the inflation rate in Sierra Leone has not decreased. I can certainly say that. I spend money in Sierra Leone. I support family members in Sierra Leone, so I know the prices of goods and services. So I wonder specifically what data he was looking at and why he chose to make that type of interpretation. I'll tell you the impact of inflation and how it affects us and the causes of inflation. Again, uncertainty, I keep mentioning uncertainty in the marketplace. Business people, economics requires us to minimize uncertainty. Whenever there's uncertainty in the marketplace, it raises the cost of production. It raises the cost of businesses to be able to run their operations optimally, where they are able to hire more people, expand their production capacities, and compete with the sub-region, if you will, if we want to just focus on that area. There are a couple of types of inflation that affects us. First, inflation is general increase in price levels, as we all know. But in Sierra Leone, the primary reason why we have inflation is because of the cost of operation. And we refer to that as cost push inflation. That means that the cost of running your business, so here we're being taxed 30% of more or more to operate our businesses. And we also need to import because we're an import based country, another issue that needs to be addressed because of lack of manufacturing, even light manufacturing within the country. So cost push inflation decreases again the size of the economy and hurts the consumer because the consumer is going to be partly responsible for that increase in price level across the country. So businesses, as cost push inflation takes hold of their organizations, you'll find that they either scale back on what they do or close down and find a neighboring country. We do not have a monopoly as a nation on investors. They find a country that's more amenable to working with businesses that does not create the uncertainties that lead to increase in price levels that encourages competition within the business community and can improve again standards of living. At the end of the day, those complaints that you hear from our people around the country has to do with the fact that the increases in standard of living is infinitesimal. They're not feeling it. They're not seeing it. They're not, it's not tangible at the end of the day. So we say being able for take 5 mondo for each per day, now not 3 mondo and able for each because the prices of goods and services continue to increase, whereas your wages are not increasing to meet that particular new price structure. So there's a
And
lot to do there.
as you inform us of that, also provide us with what are the tools, what are the measures that we can take to reverse that trend? Because it appears that that trend continues to permeate itself in our system.
Yes, and it certainly does. Great question. It certainly does. So first, public policy. So we have economics, social science it helps us determine how do we use scarce resources. Right? We do not have an unlimited supply of resources, and we recognize that. Okay, so how do we use scarce resources? This is where economics and public policy meet at an intersection. We look at the theoretical aspects of economics, but also recognize public policy has to do with human life, with the ability of
Now,
people to become.
I don't intend to cut you off. When you say
Yes,
resources, I mean, we have arable land, we have timber, we have
yes.
water for marine. I mean, we have human, we have young guys running around with nothing to
Mhm.
do. So,
Yeah, there we go. So first, we're dependent on raw materials to generate income for our country. Nations will not increase their standard of living, they will not expand their gross domestic product by focusing on export of raw materials. You must add value. Okay? You must convert those resources into semi-finished products, or in supply chain we say they're WIP, they're work in progress, right? Things that can
mhm.
they've you've added some value to them. So if we export cocoa, I think last year we exported about $31 million worth of cocoa from Sierra Leone. When we export it in its raw state, the value is limited. We have no control over prices of commodities around the world. When we add value, it does two things. One is it creates employment opportunities for our people, and then it also increases the purchase price of that product because we've converted it, at least semi converted it, to a finished product that can be used by other nations or other businesses around the world. So we export a lot of timber, right? Lots of timber outside of Sierra Leone without focusing on the environmental aspects of that, which is serious in itself. But because we're exporting timber in its raw state, we are not benefiting from it. Okay? Just recently, I joined a group discussion on exporting crude oil from Africa and other parts of the world. Without the refinery to add value to crude oil, you will still get $45, $50 a barrel. Okay? Once you add value to it and convert it to a finished product, the ball game is over. Now you're able to increase employment opportunities. You're able to develop new businesses that can expand your economy. You touched on the young and youthful, vibrant population that we have. Yes, some did not develop skill sets as a direct result of the war. They did not have the opportunity to do that, but they can be trained rather quickly to become participants in converting some of our raw materials to finished products. Imagine we begin to convert granite to peanut butter and package them and sell them out.
Mhm.
Imagine the progress, the number of people that we will get jobs, the change in the balance of trade. Where last year we import some $1.1 billion worth of products into the country because we manufacture nothing, export about less than $700 million worth of raw materials outside of the country. We have a long way to go. We import over $100 million worth of rice from China and India. Why? All this
Yeah,
arable land.
but on this rice thing,
Yes.
many insist that we should grow our own rice.
Mhm.
Okay, and I'm saying that if it's that easy to grow our own rice, I think it would have been done a long time ago.
Mhm.
Okay, if our local rice is now more expensive than the imported rice, I think it speaks to the fact that we have an issue of competitive advantage.
And we
Okay,
do.
uh, whereas maybe in as much as we believe we can grow our own rice, but it costs a whole lot more to grow our own rice, and it takes away from other things we could be doing. Would you
Right.
agree with me?
I agree in terms of the comparative advantage. Okay, so China, India, other countries around the world, they have a comparative advantage. But have we looked at the opportunity cost of continuously importing rice, the primary nutrient that our people need? What are we losing? Have we focused too much attention on the extractive industries, where the expectation is that we will earn hundreds of millions of dollars from diamond mining and gold and bauxite? What's the opportunity cost? What are we losing? That's again where economists look at comparative advantage. So if your nation has a lower opportunity cost of producing one product, then you should produce that product. Okay, understandable. But when it comes to public policy, you're playing with the lives of people. So dependence on someone else to feed you, even if they have a comparative advantage, why do we not learn from what they're doing differently? Right? We developed, you mentioned Professor Monty Jones and the role that he played in rice development. Why are we not using those same skill sets? Why are we not buying the technology? So here's one of the reasons why those countries are ahead of us in terms of rice production. Okay, we tend to agree because we're dependent nation. So we're independent, but we're dependent on a lot of international organizations. So the IMF tells us you need to eliminate subsidies, and therefore, and then we will work with you. We will open a line of credit for you. So no subsidies. Developed countries, including here in the United States, okay, member of the international community, well matured economy, their farmers receive over $50 billion annually in subsidies. Okay? Whereas we are told that we should eliminate subsidies in order for us to have access to certain funds through the IMF or the World Bank. Okay. Eliminating those
Um,
subsidies impacts our ability to help our people to expand, as we have done in the case of the engine that actually oils our economic machinery, which is fuel. In that case, that hurts us. Yes, go ahead.
And personally, I believe the issue of subsidies and incentive is a discussion all by itself. We need a whole program to talk about subsidies, really and truly. Um, we will not be able to do justice on the issue of subsidies
Hmm.
just on the very short time we have. But going back to the issue of rice production, I think if
Hmm.
we're talking post-independent Sierra Leone and understanding the fact that the only thing we eat, if you ask somebody, say you don't eat, if you don't eat rice, you say I
Hmm.
don't eat it.
Yeah.
All man they confuse say, waiting do we know they produce we own rest. I think to say it's high time,
Hmm.
okay, we begin evaluate and discuss the issue as to why we're not able to produce we own rest sufficient for subsistence
Hmm.
and cash crop. Forget the cash, forget
Yeah.
selling it. For providing for we self, we're not
Hmm.
able. I think to
Yeah.
say we need to discuss now a little more like people understand. You
Yeah.
talked about opportunity cost. What in that the opportunity cost where you they talk about with
Okay.
regards us choosing to invest on extractive industries as opposed to rice production?
Yeah. So immediately in that regard, the cost associated with focusing on the extractive industry. Now the cost of not having our farmers engaged, fully engaged in agriculture. What thing will make the farmers then become engaged in agriculture? Why make the imported rice it cheaper in most cases than the locally grown rice? Even though the locally grown rice is more nutritious than the imported rice. Um, the infrastructure again, the environment that allows our farmers to grow. Okay, so subsidizing them is not a bad area to begin with, even though economists will disagree with you that it stifles economic growth. It does not allow our people to operate optimally, to fully understand the cost of producing the product because it's being subsidized. But we need to. We're a developing nation, and rice is our primary source of food. So we are competing with the Chinas and the Bangladesh and India because they have found a way to decrease the cost of growing rice. Okay. They have employed technology, which we have not. In fact, in the previous discussion, I referred to our farmers as someone who's really just making a garden. Okay. They are subsistence farmers. They are not there to mass produce enough to be able to feed 7 million people and be profitable at it. Okay. Investments in infrastructure, investments in a road network, in tractorization, so our farmers can use technology. Currently, they use a machete and a hoe to grow rice. How much productivity can you really gain from that? I have a garden behind my in here in New Jersey. Okay, small garden, and I'm able to grow cucumbers and tomatoes and peppers every summer. Yeah, that's a garden. I cannot consider myself a farmer. On our scale, in my town, local farmers in my town in Sierra Leone are able to grow just enough rice to feed their families until the next planting season. Okay. Investing in agriculture, making agriculture look sexy to the younger generation will change things, turn things around for our people. Okay. So it's not studying agriculture and then sitting in an office. Right? You need to go to the farm. You need to love the soil. That is where the resources are. Okay. So that type of investment will help us.
You know, you talk about not studying agriculture and sitting in the office. I almost believe, I feel like seeing a media in man. Because I enrolled in I did my MBA work at Mercer University School of Business and Economics. But my initial undergrad degree is, like I told you, is in agriculture,
Mhm,
with a focus in agribusiness and applied economics. So I went to a land grant university uh, at the Ohio State University. So we did quite a number of extension work and so on and so
mhm,
forth. So
mhm.
really and truly, me, na agriculture, me study. Okay.
Nice.
But now you dey tell me say I put in a farm and into office. And I haven't held a hoe once. I haven't driven a tractor once
Once.
in all my
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Really and truly. That's
Mm,
quite true. But I also know that agriculture is hard work for
mhm,
not a lot of money. And it is not something that's attractive at all. All the reason why governments will provide incentives
mhm,
and subsidies
mhm.
to be able to encourage, I mean, those of us who would like to take on agriculture to be able to make it attractive.
Yes.
Okay. There's a lot we can discuss about this. There's a lot we can discuss about post-independence evaluation of Sierra Leone in terms of the economy. We will not be able to cover as much as we need to cover just in this one program. We're
Mhm,
going to set up another program where we'll have 2 hours to delve into this. As you're aware, and as most people are aware, many of us that are Muslims, okay, are in the last days of fasting. I pray to God that we get the blessings of the fast of the Ramadan. I
Mhm.
believe Thursday coming should be the end of Ramadan, except they tell us otherwise. But certainly, we're on the last week of Ramadan, and time for breaking fast is fast approaching.
It is.
So, and as much as I hate to do this, I'll have to interrupt our discussion and hibernate this because it's not going to close. We'll hibernate this and we'll set up a time to be published where we'll continue this discussion, where we'll have adequate and ample time to handle these issues. Okay. So, having said that, I want to thank you
Mhm.
for your postulations thus far. I think this has been very enriching and very encouraging. And I think uh, for those that have had the opportunity to listen to us or would listen to this broadcast after now will be enticed and encouraged to listen to a 2 hour presentation that we'll set up sometime next week.
Very well. Ramadan
So
Mubarak.
I'll have you. Thank you very much. I'll have you give your parting words, and we'll shut this. We'll draw the curtains down for this program, and we'll continue. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Thank you. It's been an opportunity to reflect on our great nation. It's the beginning of a conversation, and this conversation needs to happen across Sierra Leone. Should have similar conversations in our secondary schools, in our colleges and universities, so that our young people can begin to focus on those things that can transform this great nation in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years. We do not need to look to what might happen in the next 60 years. The world is not waiting for that. The world expects a lot from Sierra Leone. The world has invested a lot in the Republic of Sierra Leone through the war years, through Ebola, through the mudslides. We need to transform. We need to begin to show that all of those investments by the international community, especially so our neighbors, the African community, nations like Uganda and Nigeria and Ghana and Liberia and Republic of Guinea, they have invested in Sierra Leone. We need to start proving that the investment was worth it. And I hope this conversation has started the process of getting to that very, very quickly. Thank you so much again.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Pavi. And I want to thank our viewers and listeners and would be viewers. And certainly, we want to recognize and thank the proprietor of Sierra Cast TV for making it possible for establishing a platform where we can reach out to compatriots and our people and speak our minds and hold conversations that are pertinent, important, and very prominent and poignant to Sierra Leone in general. Thank you, and we'll shut it down now until we get back together. Thank you, and bye bye.